From Citizen TV, this is the Monday Report with Trevor Ombija.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much for staying with the Monday Report. And yes, I am Trevor Ombija. Later on, we'll be speaking about the Kenya Information Communication Amendment Bill 2025. There's a lot of contention around it. Is the government planning to spy on Kenyans, or is it a protection from exploitation over the internet? Section 3C and 3D are the most controversial. Now, 3C reads that an internet service provider shall operate a meter billing system which shall A, assign to each customer a unique and identifiable meter number, monitor customer usage, convert customer usage into readable details, create invoices based on consumption, and allow for user verification of invoices. Now, part 3D is even more interesting. An internet service provider licensed under this act shall submit to the authority at least once in every financial year information on the billing system, including internet meter numbers issued to subscribers. The mover of the bill will be here, Marianne Kitany. She's the MP Aldai constituency. She'll be speaking to us here. Are they looking to regulate internet users, or is it protection? Victor Ndede is a technology and human rights manager from Amnesty International Kenya. We'll find out from him what their concerns are with that amendment, and also send in your questions at Trevor Ombija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Monday Report. But first, our top stories tonight.
Tortured and poisoned. Abducted Juja MP George Koimburi hospitalized as former DP Gachagua alleges he was poisoned. Reprieve for parents. Government retreats on scrapping of examination fee.
Sisi Tanzania hatuna cha kujifunza Kenya. Hatuna hata kimoja cha kujifunza. Tunawazidi siasa, tunawazidi akili, tunawazidi kila kitu.
Tumewafundisha vijana wetu uzalendo, ujasiri, uhodari, na tumewafundisha pia kutafuta fedha, si kwa kutukana watu, kuuza maneno kwenye mitandao.
Parliamentary punching bag. Tanzania MPs make fun of Kenyans as House defends President Suluhu's stance on activist deportation. Gachagua snubs NCIC. Gachagua snubs NCIC summons accusing the commission of political bias.
All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. Now, Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi, who was allegedly abducted on Saturday, was found today tortured and dumped in a coffee plantation in Kibishoi in Githunguri, that's in Kiambu County. The legislature is admitted at Karen Hospital for treatment. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has condemned the incident, even as police authorities deny any involvement and insist that investigations are ongoing. Melito Letenges has more.
Juja MP George Koimburi was found in a coffee plantation in Kibishoi, writhing in pain, barely able to move, and with his clothes torn. He was quickly rushed to Plainsview Hospital and later transferred to Karen Hospital for specialized care. The ordeal began Sunday when Koimburi was ambushed by two unidentified men as he left Full Gospel Mugudha Church with his wife Anne. Witnesses describe a violent scene as the attackers forced him into their vehicle. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his allies visited Koimburi in hospital, revealing he is in critical condition, unable to speak and bearing serious injuries.
And I've just seen him and I've talked to the doctors, and they have confirmed that the Honorable George Koimburi was tortured by professionals. He has serious soft tissue injuries. This is torture normally done by professionals.
Family members say he used hand signals to communicate that he was forced to ingest a substance, causing his tongue to swell, leaving him voiceless.
And the doctors have told us that preliminary investigations confirm that that chemical has interfered with his vocal cords.
Gachagua and his allies have launched a fierce condemnation of the abduction, accusing the government of orchestrating a crackdown on opposition voices. They claim this is part of a broader pattern of intimidation against political dissenters.
To scare leaders who speak out. It is meant to scare them. It is meant to sell them fear so that they can stop agitating for the liberation of this great republic.
Meanwhile, the National Police Service has issued a statement stating that Koimburi is under investigation for a land fraud case and that he evaded arrest last Friday by escaping on a motorcycle. The National Police Service further says a team from the DCI is investigating the purported abduction video to get to the bottom of the incident. The incident follows heightened political unrest, coming just days after a DCP rally in Kakamega was disrupted by police and a vehicle belonging to Deputy Party leader Cleophas Malala was seized. Opposition leaders insist that the abduction and later release of Juja MP George Koimburi will not intimidate them but only strengthen their resolve to liberate this country, accusing President William Ruto of orchestrating political machinations against them. Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV at the Karen Hospital, Nairobi.
Tonight, parents can breathe a sigh of relief over the payment of examination fees after the Education Committee recommended that the money be reinstated. The committee told the Finance Committee to hive off 5.9 billion shillings of the capitation vote and allocate it to the exams. Stephen Leto has the details.
The heat over the budgeting of national examinations for this year returned to Parliament, with the Education Committee Chair Julius Meli appearing before the Sam Atandi-led Budget Committee to present their summary. Budget Committee members were also up in arms, demanding to know why the education sector was being underfunded.
The monies for examination is actually short by 5.1 billion shillings. Then I would want to hear from you then, are we budgeting to fail in terms of that particular vote?
We are seeing different stakeholders trying to explain why the money was totally removed.
The Education Committee submitting that money had to be moved from the capitation vote to get 5.9 billion shillings to cater for the exams that were in limbo.
The reasoning why we decided to just pick some amounts out of this capitation to fund in KCS exam is because exams is at the end of this year. This money that we have here, 103 billion, will go all the way to July.
It was very, very insensitive for the government not to allocate money for examinations. And it was even more abhorrent to hear the National Treasury trying to justify the reason for non-budgeting of examinations.
In the presentation before the Budget Committee, committee submitted that the education sector will suffer major funding gaps, including a 1.2 billion shillings deficit on the free primary education, 14.7 billion shillings deficit on junior school capitation, as well as 6 billion shillings deficit on examinations and invigilation, all totaling to financing gap of 22.6 billion shillings. TVETs, TSC and higher education all also have a budget deficit of more than 20 billion shillings each.
Therefore, I think when you appear before us for supplementary 3, I'm sure this is one of the things you will give us more information on.
The committee also received presentation from the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee with the funding of the Haiti mission and establishment of a Kenyan embassy in Haiti receiving an objection. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
The recent standoff over alleged attempted interference by Kenyan political and human rights activists in Tanzania continues to generate debate, with members of Tanzania's National Assembly coming to the defense of President Samia Suluhu Hassan, labeling the latest move by lobby groups as an export of activism meant to cause chaos and instability. As Ayub Abdulkadir reports, the lawmakers called for enhanced security checks on persons entering the country.
Lakini pia mwenyekiti wa kamati ya kudumu ya bunge ya mambo ya nje, ulinzi na
in defense of President Samia Suluhu Hassan and taking an aim at the battalion of activists who trooped to Dar es Salaam.
Fungu 98 idara ya uhamiaji.
The National Assembly of Tanzania slammed the activists led by Martha Karua and former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga, who featured plenty in their submissions and near unanimous support for President Suluhu.
Sisi Tanzania hatuna cha kujifunza Kenya. Hatuna hata kimoja cha kujifunza. Tunawazidi siasa, tunawazidi akili, tunawazidi kila kitu. Na wala swala la Kiingereza sisi sio kipaumbele. Hatuna ugomvi na Wakenya wa kawaida. tuna ugomvi na wanaharakati.
Hata hao Kenya, baadhi ya wanaharakati wanaojaribu kufikiri kwamba hili taifa ni la hovyo, walipoanza kuchinjana miaka michache iliyopita, ni taifa hili lilikwenda Kenya likarudisha umoja, amani na mshikamano.
Taking on Kenyans who have turned social media spaces into wellspring of memes and mocking President Suluhu, the lawmakers staged a robust defense of Tanzania's first female head of state, urging state agencies to clamp down on those they labeled imported descent.
Gen Z wa Kenya wamejitolea, lakini anachora kwamba Gen Z wa Tanzania wamelala. Tunataka tuambie vijana wetu wamejengwa katika misingi ya baba zao. Like father, like son. Tumewafundisha vijana wetu uzalendo, ujasiri, uhodari, na tumewafundisha pia kutafuta fedha, si kwa kutukana watu, kuuza maneno kwenye mitandao.
Kubwa kuliko yote ni kemea tabia mbaya ambayo watu wanaichukua AI, wanaenda kuleta michezo ya ajabu, wanachora mapicha si mazuri kwa ajili ya kufanya bullying kwa rais wetu Samia Suluhu Hassan. Kama mjumbe wa kamati ya ulinzi na usalama, ninakataa na nanyekemea kitendo hiki kwa sababu hakikubaliki.
On Tanzania's sovereignty, the MPs brushed off the authoritarian tag by critics on President Suluhu's administration, who has been accused by right groups for unleashing nationwide oppression against opposition players and enforcing silence.
Rais Samia hapingi wanaharakati, anapinga kuingiliwa na wanaharakati. Hapingi wanaharakati, amesema anapinga upotoshaji na kuingiliwa kwa wanaharakati.
Tunawaonya sana wanaharakati wanaofikiria kwamba taifa hili ni choo, kila mtu anaweza kwenda kujisaidia na kutoka. Nataka niwaambie, hakuna kiumbe chochote kitaweza kuligawa taifa hili. Hili ni onyo kutoka kwa Watanzania.
What started off with detention and deportation of Kenyans planning to attend the trial of opposition leader Tundu Lissu,
kama mnaweza mkamrudisha Jaji Mkuu Willy Mutunga airport,
now bears all the hallmarks of a diplomatic deadlock that may yet again freeze the on and off relations between Kenya and its southern neighbor.
Ninatoa onyo kwa vibaraka wanaokubali kutumika.
Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
Asante sana.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has declined the summon by the National Cohesion Integration Commission, that's NCIC, over his recent remarks suggesting a potential unrest in the next general election. Gachagua instead told the commission to first of all deal with President William Ruto's allies, who have claimed a possibility of tampering with the 2027 presidential vote results. In a letter addressed to NCIC by his lawyer, the DCP party leader said he committed no offense by claiming that the 2027 general polls could witness a post-election violence worse than what happened in 2007-2008. Gachagua directed NCIC to look for Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi, Tiati Member of Parliament William Kamket, and Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, among others, whom he accused of uttering reckless statements. NCIC Chairperson Samuel Kobia had called out Gachagua over the remarks, noting that it will hold him accountable for his insightful remarks. And away from that, pressure continues to mount on the government to apprehend and prosecute those responsible for the brutal murder of Father Lois Cheruiyot Bet. During a solemn requiem mass held at Sacred Hearts Church in Eldoret City, religious and political leaders united in calling for swift and decisive action to ensure justice is served. Citizen TV's Ben Kirui with the details.
Grief and outrage filled Sacred Hearts Church in Eldoret as hundreds gathered for the funeral mass of Father Alois Cheruiyot Bet, the Catholic priest who was brutally murdered in the violence-ridden Kerio Valley region. The solemn service drew a cross-section of mourners, including Catholic faithful, political leaders, and community members, all united in celebrating the life of a priest remembered for his unwavering commitment to peace and service. Father Bet was attacked and killed shortly after completing a mission of evangelism and peace building in the troubled region.
They have crossed all the boundaries, and they have struck the place where everybody runs for safety when there is insecurity in Kerio Valley.
The mass coming just a day after the government issued a 3-day ultimatum to the Kerio Valley community to identify and surrender those behind the murder. Religious leaders warned that unless concrete steps are taken, the cycle of violence, banditry, and impunity will continue to tear communities apart in the troubled region.
I beg to tell our government that if no serious action will be taken against this crime, then just know that they will now know and they will have the courage to slaughter the church ministers like gods.
Our people have suffered so much, and by the life or with the life of these priests, we are all saying that let this be the end of the violence we are seeing in Kerio Valley.
Leaders in the region, including Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Wesley Rotich, described the killing as a heartbreaking and senseless act.
I have been disturbed. I have never slept. I am still disturbed. And I want to tell you that it was not done by the entire Marakwet community or the entire Elgeyo Marakwet County.
As the community reels from this tragic act, learning resumed in most schools with uniformed officers deployed to guard the institutions.
Remember also that we are Christians.
In Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
We are gathered here.
Now, family living in Uasin Gishu County is devastated as the body of their kin who died 9 months ago in Saudi Arabia is still laying in the Gulf state. And as Marian Nyambura now reports, the family is appealing to well-wishers for assistance in bringing the body home for burial.
Sorrow hangs heavy in Kiplombe village in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. For 9 months now, the family of 28-year-old Martha Wanjiro has been grieving their kin. The remains of their kin remain in Saudi Arabia, a painful reminder of the occurrence. Martha had traveled to Saudi Arabia to seek employment as a domestic worker.
Kama mwezi moja hivi, akafika mahali nikimtafuta kwa simu hapatikani, tukiandika message haingii. Tukifanya kila kitu hakuna kitu yenye naingia. Hata napigia mjomba yake simu na mwambia hebu jaribu kutafuta msichana kwa sababu saa hii nampigia hakuna nini achukui. Siku ile tulifika hapo kwa ofisi yake ndio alituambia kenye kinaendelea. Ndio akatuambia msichana alikufa na alikufa na shida ya moyo.
The family is now seeking means of repatriating Martha's body. They claim that the agency wants 1 million shillings to facilitate the repatriation. Funds which they do not have.
Tumesunguka kila ofisi. Tumeenda ofisi ya Mutua, tumeenda ofisi ya diaspora, hatujaona usaidizi. Mimi naomba tu serikali wanisaidie. Hata msamaria mwema mwenye anaja kujitokeza tu akuje anisaidie kuhusu mtoto yangu. Nione amerudi hapa nyumbani na nimemzika.
Nataka tu usaidizi, tuletewe mwili yake tuizike. Si hatutaki maneno mingi na tujue ni nini ilimkula.
Martha's family is in agony as there are conflicting reports on the cause of death between the agency and the Diaspora Affairs Office.
Sasa tukawaambia badala msi kwenda kusika, wakasema tunaweza tenga watu 10 waende wakazikane kule ng'ambo. Sisi mimi nikasema hapana, hiyo haiwezekani. Sisi wa Kenya ama sisi jamii yetu natakanga mwili. Sheria hataki gharama mingi na mambo mengi, tukiletewa mwili ukuje hapa si tutauzika, tutauchukulia tu hapa. Hata tukafanya mambo yote mpaka mambo ya kufinalize na funeral, mambo mengi tuliyatekeleza. Lakini tena kufika mbele kutoka obstacle nyingine.
The family wants the government to put more measures to protect migrant workers and streamline repatriation processes. Marian Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya presented himself at the Western Region's Alternative Voice in leadership as the battle for the vote-rich Western Kenya takes shape ahead of the 2027 general election. Natembeya, who traversed the counties of Vihiga, Bungoma, Kakamega and Trans Nzoia, maintained that his innocence following his arrest by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission last week, vowing that no amount of intimidation will dampen his efforts to unite the region. Let's get more from Kamau Mwangi.
He climaxed his day-long tour of Western Kenya in the county he serves as governor of Trans Nzoia to a rousing welcome as the supremacy battle between him, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula for the grip of Western Kenya take shape. Natembea traversing the counties of Vihiga, Bungoma and Kakamega, bringing business to a standstill as he fronted himself as the region's alternative leadership.
Wivu! Uongozi mbaya! Wetangule! Ford Kenya! Ford Kenya! Ford Kenya!
The governor, who is facing charges of embezzlement of county funds amounting to 1.4 billion Kenya shillings, remaining defiant that the case is politically instigated and will not hamper his efforts of becoming the region's supremo in what he believes is liberating the region from years of being shortchanged.
Katiba ya Kenya inakubali watu kuongea, na mimi sitaogopa kwa sababu nalindwa na katiba. Sasa mimi ni komando, mimi ni generali.
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
All right, on that note, let's take a quick break. Your Monday Report. We're back with much more in just a bit. Thank you for staying with the Monday Report. Let's cross over to the coast where 2 people ventured into the Indian Ocean in Kilifi are missing, while 7 others were rescued after a boat capsized due to strong winds and giant waves along the coast. 6 were rescued in Lamu, while 1 was pulled out of the water at Madhuba area in Mombasa County. As Francis Mutlaki now reports, the high tides and rough sea conditions have persisted, with leaders telling the residents there to heed to warnings.
For the second day, strong winds and raging waves have continued to batter the shores of the Indian Ocean. Palm trees along the coastal line and makeshift houses built from palm leaves showing the severity of the situation. At Makadara Hospital in Mombasa, a patient is receiving treatment after being rescued, according to county officials. He had defied safety warnings and swam in a restricted area before being swept away by the strong waves and winds.
When he came, his consciousness was reduced and he had difficulty in breathing. And on examination, his chest was full of water, especially on the right side, which usually showed that he had aspirated. Aspiration means when he vomits and then it just goes back to the lungs. So immediately we stabilized him. His airway was clear. We did some suctioning and he managed to remove the extra fluid that was covering his airway. We put him on oxygen.
One thing ambayo imesaidia ni kutapika. Kwa sababu maji mtu akinywa maji mengi akiingia anaingia kwa lungs. Yakiingia kwa lungs most of the time ndio mtu anaaga kwa sababu lungs unajua ni za upepo si za kutia maji ndani. Akafanywa x-ray, ikaja x-ray chini kaona kifua kiko kizima.
6 others were rescued in Lamu after a boat capsized in Mutoni area. 2 more individuals are still missing due to the rough winds accompanied by heavy rains in Kilifi County after 2 boats capsized at Vidanzini and Narani areas. Coast leaders are now urging residents to exercise caution.
Lakini ikiwa tutaona ya kwa hakuna mwelekeo mwema kwa haya mambo kuweza kutulia, itakuwa hatuna budi isipokuwa kuweza kuendeleza watu kutoingia kesho pia vile vile.
Can destroy property. It can also destroy human life, and it also minimizes you from carrying out your economic activities. It means you will be, the way we have issued a warning, you will stay at home, your activities will not go on. So we are trying to protect property and the lives of people carrying out their economic activities within the shore and the ocean.
Police and county officials have continued patrols along the beaches to ensure no activities take place until conditions improve, starting Tuesday as forecasted.
It's a precaution to all of us, especially here in Madhuba, ndo kuna incidents nyingi zinafanyika concerning na watu wa kudrone. Kama kutakuwa na kitu yoyote ambayo inatuhamasisha tusifike baharini kwa sababu moja ama mbili zisizoepukika, kindly tusifike kwa sababu hii bahari ndio huwa iko na shida nyingi sana, watu wengi wana drone hapa.
Francis Mtulaki, Citizen TV, Mombasa.
Now, Kenya Association of Air Operators, KAO, presenting, have called on Parliament to uphold existing VAT, IDF and RDL exemptions in order to reduce the cost of purchase of aircraft and their parts. Speaking when they appeared before the National Assembly Finance Committee during the public hearings on the Finance Bill 2025, the KAO leadership said that the changing tax regime is affecting the operations.
The issue here is, Chair, other businesses have VAT in, VAT out. Most of our revenues are not VATable. Therefore, VAT is a cost, because you typically be collecting the net. VAT input, output tax, input tax, and you pay the difference. And that's the issue of competitiveness, and that is what we were able to demonstrate to this August people here before, and you have supported us 3 times before in making sure, because you understood that it's part of cost of doing business. When we compare ourselves with other countries, they don't have those taxes. Over the last year and a half, we've had more than 30 new aircraft on the AOC register, a KCAA, because of the certainty that was demonstrated by the tax policy. If those, and remember, you're also trying to modernize aircraft for sustainability, etc. If those incentives were not there, people would not actually invest.
President William Ruto has praised his deputy Kithure Kindiki for his commitment to help him unite the country. Speaking in Meru during the launch of the Wildlife Compensation Fund, President Ruto said his deputy, unlike his former deputy, understands the running of government and has already traversed various parts of the country to help in government projects.
Sasa niko na deputy huyu anaelewa barabara, anajua stima, anajua mpango ya serikali ya SHA, ni mtu mwadilifu. That is how we are going to change Kenya. Ni mnanielewa? Yes. Ananisaidia kusukuma hii gurudumu. Mumemuona sehemu mbalimbali akisukuma gurudumu ya Kenya. I am very proud that I have a deputy who understands government, who understands what we are doing in agriculture, who understands what we are doing in infrastructure, who understands what we are doing in education, who understands what we are doing in health, and is supportive to the ministers and to me to make sure that Kenya is going forward. Sio mtu ya kisirani, sio mtu ya hasira, sio mtu ya chuki, sio mtu ya ukabila, ni mtu anaelewa Deputy President si mtu ya Meru. Deputy President ni wa Republic of Kenya.
The Ministry of Health has launched the Benefits Package and Tariffs Advisory Panel to guide the implementation of the Social Health Insurance, that is SHAP program. The panel will ensure Kenyans receive quality healthcare services through an equitable and financially sustainable system. Speaking during the launch, Health Cabinet Secretary Adan Duale promised equitable and financially sustainable health system in the country.
This panel is tasked with a very critical role from where I sit. And your functions and your mandate is cut out. You are to provide us with expert advice on the design and the review of benefit package and tariffs under our social health insurance framework. The benefits and package and tariff must be evidence-based. It must reflect equity. It must be financially sustainable. It will recommend the design, the review, and the updating of benefits package through health technology assessment process. Number 2, this panel will review and update tariffs to ensure cost effectiveness and its affordability. Number 3, this panel will help us to identify essential health interventions that are currently unavailable in Kenya, but should be of priority.
A group of artists led by Roy Mwatia and Mercy Masika have called on the government to intervene and help resolve the pending case on the stream of income through Skiza. They have faulted the order stopping the payments pending the case, saying that they will be deprived of the income. Speaking in Nairobi, they said that they will move to court to counter injunction, saying that their side was not heard. Justice John Chigiti last week granted orders stopping the remittance of revenues related to Skiza and similar services by Safaricom and Airtel until the case is heard and determined.
That Tunukiwa is already deducting money from Skiza. As if that is not enough, again, somebody is coming to terminate the little monthly revenue that we have. We are looking onto the government, we are looking onto Safaricom, we are looking onto our brother and sisters, particularly Mr. Pole Sikuri. Can we make sure we get this stagnation out of the way?
It's unfair for us to be living in poverty, yet we are famous, you know. people look up to us, but we don't have the money. And it's because of, a few issues of corruption.
Serikali itusaidie sisi kama wasanii na producers, ikuje pale katikati, kukue na hizi vita zote zenye ziko kotini, siishe. Streamline the MCSK, wasanii waanze kupata pesa.
Pesa mfukoni, mara moja. Pesa mfukoni, mara moja.
All right, on that note, let's take another quick break. Your Monday Report. We're back with some business news in just a short while, so don't go too far. Time for some business news now, and Kenya is now a key partner in the new artificial intelligence hub developed by the Italian government and the United Nations Development Programme. The AI hub, to be inaugurated in Rome this month, will address Africa's critical gaps in computing infrastructure, data access and financing. Currently, only 5% of African innovators have access to adequate computing systems, and over 80% of the continent's data is stored offshore. Kenya is among 14 African countries targeted in the initial phase of this plan to boost Africa's digital transformation alongside Ethiopia, Ghana and Egypt.
Specifically, AI is estimated to create about $2.4 billion injected into our GDP by 2030, potentially create about 30,000 jobs by 2028. And so that places Kenya at a very unique opportunity. And we cannot, and as I always say, the cost of inaction and the cost of missed opportunity will be detrimental to our economy because all other countries are in this race.
In a significant policy shift poised to reshape Kenya's tea industry, the government has ordered the immediate suspension of the Rainforest Alliance certification scheme across all tea factories in the country. The move comes after high-level consultations revealed the cost of compliance was unfairly burdening tea farmers without yielding tangible benefits. Dennis Otieno has the details.
The decision to halt the certification was made during a consultative meeting held on May 8th this year at the offices of the Principal Secretary in the State Department for Agriculture. Rainforest Alliance certification, particularly for tea farms, signifies that producers are adhering to internationally recognized standards of sustainable agriculture, biodiversity conservation, and social equity. The certification ensures that farmers are meeting specific criteria for sustainable practices that benefit both people and the planet. According to the government, the scheme's cost of implementation has largely been borne by tea factories, costs that ultimately cascade down to farmers and smallholder growers. These costs, the government argues, should have been the responsibility of the international buyers and consumers who demand certification. The suspension is expected to have immediate effects across Kenya's tea-growing regions, many of which had previously sought Rainforest Alliance certification in order to access premium markets, particularly in Europe and North America. While the move could cause concern among exporters reliant on sustainability-certified markets, the Ministry of Agriculture has signaled that the suspension is temporary, pending a broader joint resolution between stakeholders. Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV.
iHub Kenya, in partnership with MasterCard Foundation, have unveiled the third cohort of the MasterCard Foundation EdTech Fellowship, a program that seeks to empower technology-based startups to polish their solutions in readiness for the market. The 2025 cohort will see a record 75% female representation among founders and a clear blueprint for scaling their EdTech innovations through targeted financial and strategic support. The cohort, which is set to have the 12 startups selected for the 6-month accelerator, will also see them receive up to $100,000, an equivalent of 12.8 million shillings in equity-free funding.
So we got a lot of help from the learning science team and the product optimization team on that front. There was more support on the business side, where we had support from the marketing team, from the people team, from the finance team to make sure that we have structured our organization in a way that it operates like a modern organization. We stopped operating just informally, and we were able to formalize to become a structured organization, to have all our pieces in place.
You know, oftentimes in the tech ecosystem, when people hear about funding, people are excited. Oh, it's free money, and especially when it's equity free, right? It's free money, no strings attached. But for us, every single capital that is deployed is important capital. And already we've talked about the fact that the edtech ecosystem doesn't really get a lot of commercial capital. So it means that for every single capital that comes in, we need to be able to do more with less, essentially. And so for us, it's milestones based in how we deploy the capital. We sit down with the companies, we do a review, a needs assessment of the company across a range of all of these support areas, and we say, hey guys, these are the key things that we think you need to fix.
Infinix has rolled out its latest smartphone, the Note 50 Pro, in the Kenyan market. Now, the device enters a competitive mid-range segment with features, the company says, are designed to meet growing consumer demand for speed, durability, and smart connectivity. Wambui Wangoi has the details.
The Note 50 Pro by Infinix is now available in the Kenyan market, targeting users looking for advanced features without a flagship price tag.
The most outstanding is the 90 watts all-round fast charge, and plus the 30 watts wireless mag charge that is capable. Then the second one would be the stylish design, which is the ultra-resilient aluminum alloy or the Armor alloy design. Then lastly, we have the bioactive halo AI lighting, which is part of the AI or the artificial intelligence of the device, making it outstanding in its price range.
With East Africa's growing appetite for high-performance yet affordable devices, Infinix appears to be making a strategic play for the region's mid-range market.
Honestly, we are doing very well in the Kenyan market because you understand currently competition is very tough. But every day, like I mentioned, we are focused on bringing in the best that we can, especially for our high-end devices.
Infinix says the device is created for the younger population as well as tech enthusiasts. The Note 50 Pro is equipped with tools for productivity, gaming, and multimedia content creation. The device comes in multiple color options, including titanium gray, enchanted purple, and shadow black. Wambui Wangoi, Citizen TV.
For over 70 years, Unilever Kenya has been spicing up Kenyan kitchens with its Royco brand, offering flavored spices such as Royco Mchuzi Mix and Royco Cube. And now Royco is transforming livelihoods and boosting the local economy by working closely with Kenyan farmers as the main suppliers of the needed raw materials. In today's Made in Kenya segment, Edward Chaya takes us through the journey of making the different Royco variants right from the farm to the fork in what is truly a Made in Kenya brand.
Yatta constituency, Machakos County. Steve Mbondo is tending to his crop. He is one of the few farmers here growing several acres of coriander, or, as you know it, dania.
Hii tumekusa hapa sio ile ya kukula majani, ile ya kachumbali, ile tumezoea huko. Lengo letu hapa ni kutoa mbegu. Tukishatoa mbegu, tunakausha, ndio tunauza.
Mbondo is not alone. He has convinced other farmers in Yatta to embrace coriander farming as there is a ready market for the crop.
Hii dania iko afadhali juu nilionyesha na mwenzangu. Huyu neighbor akanionyesha mahali ya kuuza hiyo dania.
Ukiangalia gharama ya dania, utapata gharama yake iko chini kidogo.
Kilometers away in Njoro, Nakuru County, Mwangi Mbichu is growing 5 acres of chili. He says he chose to be different from other farmers because of the benefits that come with the chili farming.
Nilichagua kununua pilipili sababu haina ugonjwa mingi na ukiichunga vizuri utakula kwa muda mrefu. Sana si kama kitu kama nyanya ama pilipili hoho, ikiiva hata imeiva itaharibika. Lakini mmea pilipili ni mzuri sababu utauza fresh green, uuse fresh red na uuse dry. Na soko ya dry ndio hata kubwa zaidi.
When the coriander in Yatta and the chili in Njoro are ready, they are harvested and brought here at Njoro Canning Company, where they are processed and packaged, ready for the next stage.
We basically convert fresh farm produce into a product that can be kept for a longer period to basically extend the shelf life. We do spices, including sterilized spices, specifically for Unilever Kenya.
For over 20 years, Njoro Canning and Unilever Kenya have partnered to work with farmers like Mbondo and Mbichu, who supply the various herbs and spices used to make the renowned Royco products.
We now have a lot more Kenyan farmers growing products for us, which we supply to Unilever Kenya.
When the herbs and spices are processed and packaged at the Njoro Canning Company, they are brought here at the Unilever factory in Nairobi, where they are used to make the different variants of the Royco brand. The process begins with measuring the ground spices and herbs into required quantities. They are taken into a special chamber where they are meticulously formulated and fortified to make the different Royco variants, each variant taking different ingredients and flavor. The end product is either in powder form, popularly known as the Royco Mchuzi Mix, or cube form for the Royco Cubes. At the end of the production chain, the variants are packaged, ready for the market.
In Kenya, the insight was that 1 out of 4 women suffer from iron deficiency. So with this insight, we fortified our Royco Cubes with iron. And what the iron does is that it enhances your natural body function.
At a time the country is on an accelerated desire to industrialize, especially on food and agriculture sector, the management of Unilever acknowledges the essence of sourcing raw materials locally.
We developed a strategy of increasing the percentage of raw materials that go into producing our products but are sourced locally in Kenya. We've grown intentionally from under 40% up to last year, we closed at 70%.
To do so, the multinational has a localization strategy, which includes investing heavily in capacity building of the farmers while exploring different ways of value addition.
The farmers are many and they produce little. So we needed an aggregator to be able to support that process. And that's where Njoro Canning Factory comes in. We were then able to work together to develop an outreach program that then now empowered farmers in terms of being able to manage some of these challenges.
With more variants introduced, Royco is keen on cementing its legacy as the most used brand in Kenyan kitchens and beyond.
There is growing demand for flavor enhancement and consumers just wanting to really enhance the taste of their food.
Edward Chweya, Made in Kenya, Citizen TV.
Welcome back. Zimbabwean Esther Chibwada was crowned the champion of the inaugural International Pool Carnival staged at the Timber Expo Pool Arena in Eldoret City. Esther walked away with the top prize of 1.5 million shillings. Kenya's David Njane, fresh from the Hayball Grandmasters finals in China a week ago, took the men's Shujaa final title, beating Rollins Onyango in the final early Monday morning. Naomi Ng'ang'a was crowned the Shujaa ladies champion after winning against Patricia Keruche in the women's competitive final. A total of 7 million shillings was up for grabs in prize money.
To start, I didn't expect such a win because she's always been like my opponent. We always play. The funny thing, I've never won her. Today is my first time winning her with a big win. So I'm so excited about myself. I'm so proud of myself.
The Kiambu Aquatics Federation is among 3 regions that held their sprints and relays gala over the weekend as swimmers chase qualifying times for the Kenya Aquatics Long Course National Championship at the Kasarani next weekend. In some of the results, 7-year-old Barak Laja from Oka Swim Club broke the 25 meters butterfly meet record with a new time of 19 seconds. Despite not being in her best form, 14-year-old Faith Mugweru from Crawford International School won gold in the 100 meters individual medley, setting a new meet record of 1 minute 34.93 seconds. Sean Odera from USIU Dolphin Swim Club won in the 18 and over category of the 50-meter butterfly with a time of 32.34 seconds. Over 400 swimmers took part.
Because I felt like I hadn't trained as much as the others, but when I came here and I started my first race, it was actually better than I expected.
Early season pace setters held their nerves to win their respective categories as the curtains came down on the JGF US Kids Nairobi Spring Tour. Now, the tour that started in February in Limuru concluded in Nairobi after a series of 8 tournaments, including the Tour Championship at the Mdaiga Golf Club. Now, the play of the championship was arguably in the girls' 11 to 12 years old category, where Ashley Muyela was in sublime form, playing an impressive 3 under par 69. She also took the overall category title with 152 points, 12 points ahead of Chloe Chiuri. Now, Amar Shah was also in good form with an impressive score of 1 over par 73. He also won the overall title in the category with 221 points. Peter Gadogo finished second with 162 points. The boys' 12 years category went to Adam Nesbitt, while Randy Turi won the girls 13 to 14.
Because like in the age group 13 to 14 girls, it's actually more competitive because from 15 to 18, it's just 2 or 3 girls.
Oh, so today I had a really rough day. A few bad shots, a few good shots. The greens were quite tricky. They're faster than normal. But I managed to secure some putts, but I had a few unlucky breaks.
For me, I won't say it was that bad because like my second 9 was very good. I had very nice drive shots, very nice chipping and putting.
Kayole Starlets beat all the odds to be crowned the overall Women National Super League champions in Nakuru. The Nairobi side hammered the Madira Soccer Assassins 3-0 in the playoff finals at the Nakuru ASK Showground. The WNSL was a tough one as it was divided into Zone A and Zone B, with the winners meeting in the finals. Madira won a tough Zone B while Kayole were the winners in Zone A. Kayole's long season started earlier on than the rest of the teams, and it paid off in the end with the trophy heading to Nairobi.
Nakumbuka season ikianza, we prayed much about kurudi kwa Premier League than kucheza hii playoffs. But playoffs imekam ni kama Zone B imekuwa very competitive. Ukiangalia Gideons, Trans Nzoia Falcons, hizo timu zote za Zone B zimekuwa too hard for us.
Season yetu ilikuwa ngumu kidogo, but kitu imetusaidia ni that tulianza pre-season mapema. Tulibring in players wale tulikuwa tusaidie na tulianza pre-season mapema sana, so I think pia imechangia, preparation ya mapema imechangia sana.